Welcome to Timeless Tales podcast by Sage Chronicler, where we explore the timeless myths and mysteries that have shaped humanity's understanding of itself, the universe, and our place within it. Here, every story is an adventure into the unknown, blending ancient wisdom with modern curiosity. Today's journey takes us deep into the enigmatic lore of the Anunnaki, beings who, according to ancient Sumerian texts, descended from the heavens to earth, bringing order to chaos, wisdom to ignorance, and civilization to an untamed world. The Sumerians revered them as gods, the architects of humanity's earliest societies. But were these beings truly divine? Or could their origins be something far more extraordinary, something rooted in reality rather than myth? The Sumerians left us a tantalizing phrase to describe them: Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came. Think about that for a moment. This isn't the typical language used to describe the natural world or even mythical deities. This phrase suggests a descent, a deliberate arrival, as if these beings came with purpose, intent, and extraordinary power. But who were they? And why did they come? Ancient texts like the Enuma Elish and the Sumerian king lists describe a time when these celestial beings walked the earth. They are said to have established cities, taught agriculture, and bestowed knowledge that transformed early human societies. Yet, these same beings also demanded obedience and, at times, exacted harsh punishments on those who defied their will. To the Sumerians, the Anunnaki were divine beings worthy of worship. But in modern times, their stories have been reinterpreted through a different lens. Some scholars and theorists argue that the Anunnaki were not gods but extraterrestrial visitors, advanced beings who came to Earth for reasons we have yet to fully understand. Could the stories of the Anunnaki be ancient humanity's attempt to explain contact with beings beyond their comprehension? Or were they purely a metaphor, a reflection of humanity's struggles with power, knowledge, and divine justice? Imagine this: a time when the Earth was young, untamed, and full of mystery. A time when humanity was just beginning to understand the world around them. Into this world descended the Anunnaki, towering, powerful beings who claimed dominion over the heavens and earth. They are said to have established cities like Eridu and Nippur, built grand ziggurats, and organized the chaos of early human life. But their stories don't stop there. The Anunnaki were not a monolithic group. They had a hierarchy, rivalries, and conflicts. At the head of their pantheon was Anu, the supreme ruler. Beneath him were Enki, the god of wisdom and water, and Enlil, the god of storms and order, two brothers whose differences would shape the destiny of both gods and mortals. Their myths raise profound questions. If they were gods, why did they toil like mortals to mine Earth's resources? Why did they create humanity, according to Sumerian texts, to serve them as laborers? And why, despite their immense power, did they eventually leave Earth, promising to return? Modern interpretations of the Anunnaki story go even further, suggesting connections to advanced technology, genetic manipulation, and even the origins of human civilization. Could their stories explain the sudden advancements in agriculture, architecture, and governance that characterized early Mesopotamian society? And what about the legends of Nibiru, the supposed home of the Anunnaki, a mysterious planet said to follow an elliptical orbit that brings it close to Earth every few thousand years? What if I told you that these ancient myths could hold the key to understanding humanity's greatest mysteries? What if the gods of Sumer were not figments of imagination, but beings whose presence shaped the course of human history? Today, we will explore the origins of the Anunnaki and their arrival on Earth. We'll dive into their purpose, their relationships with humanity, and the enduring questions their legends have inspired. Along the way, we'll examine their celestial connections, their role in shaping human civilization, and their impact on the stories that have been passed down for millennia. By the end of this episode, you may find yourself questioning the boundaries between myth and reality. Were the Anunnaki gods in the truest sense of the word, or were they misunderstood beings, either celestial or extraterrestrial, whose actions were immortalized in the myths of one of humanity's earliest civilizations? Join me, your host, as we unravel the legend of the Anunnaki. Together, we'll uncover their stories, their purpose, and the lingering question that has fascinated humanity for centuries. Were they gods, visitors, or something even more profound? Stay tuned as we embark on this exploration of ancient wisdom, celestial mysteries, and humanity's origins. The story begins in the cradle of civilization, Mesopotamia, a land framed by the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. It was here, over 6,000 years ago, that one of the world's first advanced societies flourished. The Sumerians, pioneers of writing, astronomy, and law, attributed their remarkable achievements not to their own ingenuity but to beings they revered as gods, the Anunnaki. The word Anunnaki carries profound weight in the Sumerian language, translating to those who from heaven to earth came. To the Sumerians, these beings were not figments of imagination. They were real, living entities who descended from the heavens to shape the destiny of Earth. Etched into clay tablets in cuneiform script, their myths tell of the Anunnaki's arrival, their purpose, and their influence on the rise of human civilization. According to the texts, the Anunnaki came from the heavens, descending to Earth with a specific mission: to bring order to chaos. The Earth, as the Sumerians described it, was a wild and untamed realm before their arrival. Nature was unruly, the land barren, and humanity scattered and rudimentary. It was the Anunnaki who brought stability, transforming the Earth into a place of abundance and harmony. But the question remains, why did these celestial beings come to Earth in the first place? The Sumerians provide clues in their detailed accounts, some of which point to the stars. A recurring motif in their mythology is a celestial body called Nibiru, often referred to as the 12th planet. Unlike the known planets in our solar system, Nibiru is described as following a long, elliptical orbit that brings it close to Earth every few thousand years. Ancient interpretations suggest that Nibiru was the home of the Anunnaki, a distant, advanced world whose inhabitants embarked on an interstellar journey to Earth. Modern theorists, like the controversial author Zecharia Sitchin, have linked this celestial connection to the Anunnaki's arrival. Sitchin's interpretations of Sumerian texts propose that the Anunnaki's mission was far from benevolent. They were not here as saviors or mere observers, but as seekers of resources, particularly gold. This precious metal, revered for its beauty and rarity, held a practical significance for the Anunnaki. They allegedly needed it to repair the atmosphere of their home planet, using its reflective properties to counteract environmental degradation. If these theories hold any truth, then the Anunnaki were not omnipotent deities, but beings constrained by the same laws of survival that govern all life. Their arrival on Earth was not a cosmic accident, but a calculated decision driven by necessity. Gold, scattered across Earth's rivers, mountains, and valleys, became the focus of their efforts. And so, the Anunnaki began to reshape the Earth to suit their needs. The cities they established, such as Eridu, Nippur, and Uruk, were not only centers of civilization, but also the epicenters of their operations. Towering ziggurats, architectural marvels of their time, rose from these cities, serving as temples, administrative hubs, and perhaps even beacons to the heavens. These structures symbolize the connection between heaven and earth, a physical manifestation of the Anunnaki's celestial origins and their earthly dominion. However, the work was not easy. Despite their power, the Anunnaki found the labor of mining gold and managing Earth's resources arduous. The texts describe their frustrations, portraying them as beings not unlike humans, prone to weariness and discontent. This dissatisfaction led to significant tension among their ranks, particularly between the higher gods who governed and the Igigi, a subgroup of Anunnaki assigned to the most laborious tasks. The Igigi eventually revolted, refusing to continue their backbreaking work in the mines. This rebellion forced the Divine Council of the Anunnaki to convene, leading to a momentous decision. It was during this meeting that Enki, the god of wisdom and creativity, proposed a groundbreaking idea: the creation of a new being to bear the burden of labor. This being, Enki suggested, would be a hybrid, a combination of divine essence and earthly material, capable of performing the work the Anunnaki sought to escape. But the creation of humanity would come later in their saga. For now, the focus remains on their arrival, an event that changed the course of history. The Anunnaki's influence extended far beyond their quest for gold. They brought knowledge and order to the Sumerians, teaching them the principles of agriculture, the art of writing, and the complexities of governance. The Sumerians credited the Anunnaki with their achievements, viewing them as both rulers and benefactors. Yet, the relationship between the Anunnaki and humanity was not without its complexities. The Sumerians worshipped these beings, offering sacrifices and building temples to honor them. But the Anunnaki were also demanding masters, expecting loyalty and obedience from their subjects. The dynamic between the gods and humans mirrored the complexities of power, both a source of progress and a cause of conflict. The Anunnaki's story raises profound questions about their nature and purpose. Were they gods in the traditional sense, or were they advanced beings whose presence was interpreted through the limited perspective of ancient humans? Could their arrival explain the sudden advancements seen in Sumerian society, from the development of cuneiform writing to the construction of monumental structures? As their narrative unfolds, the Anunnaki appear less as mythical figures and more as enigmatic forces, beings whose arrival set the stage for the rise of human civilization. Their story invites us to reconsider the origins of humanity and the possibility of celestial intervention in our distant past. This is just the beginning. The arrival of the Anunnaki was the dawn of an era, one that would see the transformation of Earth into a thriving world of order, knowledge, and innovation. But their mission, their conflicts, and their relationship with humanity would evolve in ways that continue to intrigue and mystify. The Anunnaki's arrival on Earth was not a singular event. It marked the beginning of an epoch, a transformative era that would redefine the natural world and the creatures inhabiting it. In the Sumerian texts, these celestial beings are described not just as rulers, but as architects of civilization. They brought with them the tools and knowledge necessary to shape humanity's destiny, yet their motives were anything but straightforward. Upon their arrival, the Anunnaki set their sights on Mesopotamia, a land of fertile soil, abundant water, and untapped resources. It was a natural stage for the grand experiment they were about to undertake. Here, they began the construction of cities that would serve both practical and spiritual purposes. The towering ziggurats of these early settlements symbolized the Anunnaki's dominion over Earth and their connection to the heavens. Yet, for all their advancements, the Anunnaki were not immune to the limitations of physical labor. The process of mining Earth's resources, especially the gold they so desperately sought, proved to be an exhausting endeavor. Despite their divine origins, they struggled to manage the sheer scope of their task. The Igigi, their labor force, bore the brunt of the workload, extracting resources from the Earth's depths to fuel the Anunnaki's mission. As the legends recount, this grueling work eventually led to rebellion. The Igigi, pushed to their limits, cast down their tools and demanded relief. Their cries reached the ears of the higher-ranking Anunnaki, forcing the Divine Council to convene. This rebellion was a pivotal moment, not only in the story of the Anunnaki but also in the history of humanity's creation. It was during this council that Enki, the god of wisdom and water, emerged as a pivotal figure. Enki, known for his intellect and creativity, proposed a radical solution to alleviate the burden of labor on the Igigi, the creation of a new being. This being would be designed specifically to shoulder the weight of the Anunnaki's work, freeing the celestial beings to focus on their grander purpose. The texts describe Enki's plan as both daring and revolutionary. He envisioned a being that was part earth and part divine, a hybrid capable of enduring the hardships of physical labor while still possessing enough intelligence to follow orders. This new creation would not only serve the Anunnaki but also transform the planet, bringing order to the chaos that had defined the Earth before their arrival. However, not all the Anunnaki agreed with Enki's vision. Among those who opposed the idea was Enlil, the god of storms and authority. Enlil, ever cautious and pragmatic, viewed the creation of such beings as a potential threat. To him, the idea of giving earthly creatures even a fraction of divine power was reckless. He feared that these hybrids might one day challenge the very gods who created them. This division among the Anunnaki reflected deeper tensions within their pantheon. The conflict between Enki and Enlil would come to define much of the Anunnaki's interactions with humanity, shaping their role as both creators and rulers. Yet, despite Enlil's reservations, the council ultimately approved Enki's plan. The promise of relief from labor outweighed the risks, and so the gods set about creating what would become humanity. But before the first humans could be brought into existence, the Anunnaki faced another challenge. The process of creation required precision and experimentation. Enki and Ninhursag, the goddess of fertility and life, took on the monumental task of designing this new being. The ancient texts recount their efforts in vivid detail, describing how they combined clay from the earth with the divine essence of the gods to form a living, breathing creature. Their initial attempts, however, were far from perfect. Some creations were too fragile, unable to withstand the demands of labor. Others were too powerful, their strength threatening to rival that of the gods themselves. These early failures highlight the experimental nature of their endeavor, painting the Anunnaki as beings grappling with the complexities of creation. Eventually, after much trial and error, Enki and Ninhursag succeeded. They created the first humans, beings who embodied the balance between earth and heaven. These early humans, known as Adamu, were the precursors to modern mankind. Their purpose was clear: to serve the Anunnaki by performing the tasks that the gods could no longer bear. The Adamu were placed in the gardens of Eridu, one of the first cities established by the Anunnaki. Here, they learned to cultivate the land, mine resources, and build the structures that would become the foundations of human civilization. Under the guidance of their creators, the Adamu thrived, their efforts ensuring the success of the Anunnaki's mission on Earth. But the creation of humanity was not without its consequences. The Anunnaki's decision to imbue their creations with a portion of their divine essence meant that humans were not mere tools. They were beings with thoughts, emotions, and desires. This unexpected complexity would lead to new challenges, as the humans began to question their purpose and their creators. Enki, ever the protector of humanity, sought to guide and nurture the Adamu. He taught them the secrets of agriculture, the principles of governance, and the foundations of writing. Through these gifts, humanity began to ascend, evolving from mere laborers into a society capable of great achievements. The Sumerians credited Enki with these advancements, viewing him as a benefactor who bridged the gap between the divine and the mortal. Yet, Enlil remained wary. To him, humanity's growing independence was a danger that could not be ignored. The tension between Enki's nurturing approach and Enlil's strict oversight created a dynamic that would define the Anunnaki's relationship with humanity for centuries to come. The arrival of the Anunnaki and the creation of humanity mark the beginning of a story that is both profound and complex. It is a tale of ambition, conflict, and the delicate balance between creation and control. The Anunnaki's influence on Earth extended far beyond their quest for resources. It shaped the very fabric of human civilization, leaving a legacy that continues to inspire and mystify. As the story unfolds, the Anunnaki's role as creators and rulers would be tested. Their mission, their conflicts, and their relationship with humanity would evolve in ways that echoed through the ages, shaping the destiny of both gods and mortals. The Anunnaki's presence on Earth was transformative, but their relationship with their creations, the humans they designed, was far from harmonious. As the Sumerians told it, the gods were both creators and overlords, shaping humanity's destiny while grappling with the consequences of their own actions. The creation of humans, though a solution to the Anunnaki's labor problem, introduced a new dynamic to the celestial being's mission on Earth. The Adamu, humanity's first ancestors, were both a triumph and a challenge. Designed to toil in the fields, mines, and cities of the Anunnaki, these beings were endowed with the intelligence and strength necessary to perform their tasks. Yet, their creators had not anticipated the complexities of giving their creations a spark of divinity. The Adamu were more than laborers. They were sentient beings, capable of thought, emotion, and even rebellion. This newfound complexity created a rift within the Anunnaki pantheon. Enki, who had championed humanity's creation, saw the potential for humans to become more than mere workers. He believed that the Adamu could grow, learn, and contribute to the greater good of the Earth. Enki's actions reflected this belief. He shared knowledge with humanity, teaching them to cultivate crops, irrigate fields, and harness the power of the written word. Under his guidance, the Adamu flourished, and the foundations of early civilization began to take shape. But Enlil, the god of order and storms, viewed humanity's development with skepticism and fear. To him, the Adamu were a necessary evil, created to serve the Anunnaki but not to share in their knowledge or power. Enlil's concern stemmed from a deep-seated belief that humanity's potential for growth could one day lead to insubordination, a threat not only to the Anunnaki's mission but to their very existence. The tension between Enki and Enlil reached its peak in the city of Nippur, a sacred center for the Anunnaki. Here, the gods would gather to discuss the governance of Earth and the management of humanity. While Enki argued for greater autonomy and education for the Adamu, Enlil insisted on strict control, advocating for measures to limit humanity's influence. The council's debates were heated, with other gods taking sides in the conflict. Inanna, the ambitious goddess of love and war, often sided with Enki, seeing humanity's potential as an opportunity to expand her own influence. Ninhursag, the goddess of fertility and one of humanity's creators, shared Enki's compassion for the Adamu but warned against giving them too much freedom. These divisions reflected the Anunnaki's broader struggles with leadership, collaboration, and the consequences of their decisions. Despite the council's disagreements, the Adamu continued to grow in number and influence. The Sumerians credited the Anunnaki with teaching humanity the arts of agriculture, architecture, and governance, but they also acknowledged the strain these advancements placed on the gods. As human society became more complex, so too did the demands on the Anunnaki to manage and oversee their creations. It was during this time that the Anunnaki faced a crisis of resources. The Earth's population had grown significantly, and the Adamu, while productive, required sustenance and oversight. The burden of managing humanity began to weigh heavily on the gods, particularly Enlil, who saw the growing human population as a direct threat to the balance of power. The ancient texts recount a pivotal moment when Enlil, frustrated by humanity's noise and disobedience, proposed a drastic solution: a great flood to cleanse the earth of its inhabitants. Enlil believed that this flood would restore order, reducing the burden on the Anunnaki and allowing them to refocus on their mission. His proposal, however, was met with fierce opposition from Enki. Enki, ever the protector of humanity, could not bear to see his creations destroyed. He viewed the flood as an act of cruelty, one that betrayed the Anunnaki's responsibility as creators. In secret, he devised a plan to save humanity. Enki selected a mortal man, Atrahasis, and warned him of the impending deluge. He instructed Atrahasis to build a great ark, a vessel capable of preserving life through the storm. The story of the flood, as told in the Sumerian texts, bears striking similarities to later accounts found in the Bible and other cultures. Atrahasis, like Noah, heeded the warning of a compassionate deity, gathering his family and animals to survive the catastrophic event. When the floodwaters receded, life resumed, and humanity began the process of rebuilding. The flood marked a turning point in the relationship between the Anunnaki and humanity. While Enki's actions ensured the survival of the Adamu, the event highlighted the divisions within the Divine Council. Enlil's distrust of humanity deepened, while Enki's bond with his creations grew stronger. This tension would define the Anunnaki's interactions with humanity for generations to come. The aftermath of the flood also raised questions about the Anunnaki's purpose on Earth. The gods had come in search of resources, but their mission had become entangled with the lives of the beings they created. As human civilization began to recover, the Anunnaki faced new challenges, from managing the growing population to maintaining their authority in a rapidly changing world. In the cities of Mesopotamia, the influence of the Anunnaki remained strong. Temples dedicated to the gods became centers of culture, learning, and governance. The Sumerians viewed their relationship with the Anunnaki as one of mutual dependence. The gods provided knowledge and protection, while humans offered labor and devotion. This balance, however, was fragile, and the Sumerian texts hint at the eventual departure of the Anunnaki from Earth. The reasons for their departure remain a mystery. Some texts suggest that the Anunnaki's mission was complete, while others hint at internal conflicts that drove them away. Whatever the cause, their legacy endured, shaping the myths, religions, and cultures of the ancient world. The story of the Anunnaki's arrival and their creation of humanity is one of ambition, conflict, and transformation. It is a tale that invites us to question the origins of civilization and the possibility of celestial intervention in our distant past. Whether viewed as gods, advanced beings, or symbols of human aspiration, the Anunnaki remain one of the most fascinating mysteries of ancient history. The Anunnaki's influence did not end with humanity's survival after the flood. If anything, the relationship between gods and mortals grew even more complex. The Sumerian texts tell of a world rebuilt under the guidance of these celestial beings, with humans working tirelessly to restore what had been lost. The floodwaters may have receded, but the scars it left behind reshaped both Earth and the Anunnaki's approach to their creations. Humanity, though battered by the catastrophe, began to thrive once more. The fertile lands of Mesopotamia became the foundation for new cities, built larger and more organized than before. The Sumerians believed the Anunnaki directly oversaw this reconstruction, teaching mortals how to manage resources, build monumental structures, and create systems of governance. Yet, even as the gods provided guidance, tensions between them simmered beneath the surface. A divided pantheon, the flood, had not just cleansed the earth. It had also deepened divisions within the Anunnaki Council. Enki and Enlil, whose rivalry had already defined much of humanity's early history, were now more ideologically opposed than ever. Enki's decision to save humanity without the consent of the council had angered Enlil, who viewed it as a direct challenge to his authority. For Enlil, humanity remained a potential threat. Despite their diminished numbers, humans had shown resilience, intelligence, and an ability to adapt. Enlil feared that these traits, combined with the knowledge Enki continued to provide, could lead to rebellion against the divine order. To maintain control, Enlil sought stricter oversight of humanity, instituting laws and practices that ensured mortals remained subservient to the gods. Enki, by contrast, continued to see humanity as a creation worth nurturing. He believed that the flood had been a lesson in balance, that while humans required guidance, they also deserved freedom to grow and evolve. Enki's approach fostered innovation and cultural development, but it also created friction with Enlil, who saw such advancements as a threat to divine supremacy. The role of Inanna between these opposing forces was Inanna, the goddess of love, war, and fertility. Inanna's ambitions often aligned with Enki's vision of progress, as she sought to expand her influence over both humans and gods. She encouraged the growth of cities like Uruk, where she was revered as the patron deity. Under her guidance, Uruk became a center of culture, trade, and political power, embodying the ideals of progress that Enki championed. Inanna's dual nature as both a nurturer and a warrior made her a complex figure in the Anunnaki pantheon. While she supported humanity's growth, she was also unafraid to wield power and enforce her will when necessary. Her influence over mortals was immense, as she inspired not only devotion but also ambition among the rulers of Earth's earliest kingdoms. Kings sought her favor in battle and governance, seeing her as both a protector and a source of divine legitimacy. Humanity's growing independence as cities flourished and human populations grew, a subtle but significant shift began to occur. Humanity, once entirely dependent on the Anunnaki for survival and knowledge, started to develop its own systems of innovation and governance. While the gods remained central to Sumerian culture, mortals began to carve out a greater role in shaping their own destiny. This growing independence did not go unnoticed by the Anunnaki. Enlil, in particular, viewed it as a dangerous trend. He believed that humanity's increasing self-sufficiency undermined the divine hierarchy, threatening the balance of power that had been established since the Anunnaki's arrival on Earth. To counteract this, Enlil imposed new restrictions on human behavior, using natural disasters and other means to remind mortals of their place in the order of things. Yet, despite these efforts, humanity continued to thrive. The Sumerians developed advanced irrigation systems, enabling them to cultivate the fertile lands of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. They constructed grand temples, ziggurats that rose high into the heavens, not just as places of worship, but as symbols of their growing capabilities. Writing, first used to record transactions and administrative tasks, evolved into a tool for preserving stories, laws, and knowledge. These advancements, attributed to the teachings of the Anunnaki, became the foundation of human civilization. A turning point. The departure of the Anunnaki as the centuries passed, the Anunnaki's role on Earth began to diminish. The texts suggest that their mission, whatever its ultimate purpose, was nearing completion. Some accounts hint at internal conflicts among the gods, with disagreements about how to manage Earth and its inhabitants. Others suggest that the Anunnaki had extracted the resources they needed and were preparing to leave. The departure of the Anunnaki was not a single event, but a gradual process. Temples dedicated to the gods remained active, and rituals continued, but the direct involvement of the Anunnaki in human affairs began to wane. The Sumerians interpreted this withdrawal in various ways. Some saw it as a sign of the gods' satisfaction with humanity's progress, while others feared it was a prelude to divine abandonment. One of the most enduring mysteries of the Anunnaki's departure is the promise of their return. Many Sumerian texts allude to a time when the gods would come back to Earth, bringing with them a new era of transformation. This prophecy, shrouded in ambiguity, has fueled speculation for millennia. Were the Anunnaki merely taking leave, or was their mission on Earth incomplete? Legacy of the Anunnaki even in their absence. The Anunnaki left an indelible mark on human history. The cities they helped build became centers of culture, innovation, and power, shaping the trajectory of civilizations that followed. The systems of governance, law, and religion they established served as blueprints for future societies, from Babylon to Rome and beyond. But perhaps their greatest legacy lies in the questions they left behind. Who were the Anunnaki, really? Were they divine beings, as the Sumerians believed, or advanced entities whose actions were interpreted through the lens of mythology? Could their story be evidence of ancient contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, or is it a reflection of humanity's innate need to explain the unknown? The story of the Anunnaki invites us to consider the origins of civilization, the possibility of celestial intervention, and the enduring power of myth. Their arrival on Earth was more than a moment in history. It was the beginning of a narrative that continues to inspire and challenge our understanding of the past. The Anunnaki's gradual departure left humanity at a crossroads. The beings who had once descended from the heavens, shaping Earth with their wisdom and power, now became more distant, their physical presence replaced by the structures, rituals, and teachings they left behind. This transition marked the beginning of a new phase for humanity, a time of self-reliance and independence, but also of lingering questions about the divine. The post-flood world. In the aftermath of the flood, humanity faced the immense task of rebuilding its world. The Sumerians believed that the Anunnaki guided them during this process, offering wisdom and tools to ensure that civilization could rise again. Cities like Eridu, Uruk, and Nippur became bustling centers of trade, culture, and governance, their ziggurats towering over the landscape as symbols of both human ingenuity and divine inspiration. However, the relationship between the gods and humans had shifted. The flood had been a stark reminder of the Anunnaki's immense power and their capacity for judgment. For mortals, the event reinforced their dependence on divine favor, but it also sparked a deeper reverence for the gods who had ensured humanity's survival. Rituals became more elaborate, and the construction of temples became a central focus of life in Mesopotamia. Enki's role in guiding humanity remains central to these narratives. The Sumerians credited him with teaching them everything from irrigation techniques to writing systems, enabling their society to thrive. Enki's influence extended beyond practical knowledge. He was also seen as a protector, someone who valued humanity's survival and sought to elevate them. The Anunnaki's withdrawal. Despite their continued guidance, the Anunnaki began to withdraw from direct involvement in human affairs. Texts from this period describe fewer interactions between gods and mortals, suggesting a deliberate separation. The reasons for this withdrawal remain unclear, but several theories emerge from the Sumerian myths. One explanation is that the Anunnaki believed their mission on Earth was complete. Having stabilized the planet, established systems of governance, and ensured humanity's survival, they no longer saw the need to intervene directly. Another theory suggests that internal conflicts among the gods may have driven their retreat. The rivalry between Enki and Enlil, as well as competing ambitions within the divine council, could have made their continued presence on Earth unsustainable. A more speculative interpretation comes from modern theorists who view the Anunnaki as extraterrestrial beings. According to this perspective, the gods may have depleted the resources they sought, most notably gold, and departed for their home planet, Nibiru. This theory is rooted in the idea that the Anunnaki's actions were driven not by altruism but by necessity, making their withdrawal a practical decision rather than a spiritual one. The promise of return. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Anunnaki's mythology is the recurring promise that they would one day return to Earth. Many Sumerian texts allude to a time when the gods will descend once more, bringing with them an era of transformation. This prophecy has fueled speculation across cultures and generations, inspiring both religious interpretations and theories of extraterrestrial contact. For the Sumerians, the idea of the gods' return was both a comfort and a warning. It suggested that the Anunnaki's departure was not an abandonment but a temporary absence, with the potential for renewal and restoration in the future. At the same time, it reminded humanity of the gods' power and the consequences of failing to honor their legacy. Modern interpretations of this prophecy often focus on the potential for rediscovering the Anunnaki's knowledge. If these beings were truly advanced entities, their return could bring technologies and wisdom far beyond our current understanding. Alternatively, their reappearance could serve as a reckoning, forcing humanity to confront its history and the choices it has made since their departure. The Anunnaki's legacy in human civilization. Even in their absence, the Anunnaki's influence endured. The systems they established became the foundation for empires that followed, shaping governance, religion, and cultural practices across the ancient world. The concept of kingship, for example, was deeply tied to the Anunnaki's hierarchy. Sumerian rulers often claimed divine right, presenting themselves as intermediaries between the gods and their people. The ziggurats they inspired became precursors to later architectural wonders, including the pyramids of Egypt and the temples of Mesoamerica. These structures reflected humanity's desire to connect with the divine, a theme that the Anunnaki's mythology encapsulated. Perhaps the most profound legacy of the Anunnaki lies in the stories themselves. The myths of gods descending from the heavens, shaping the earth, and guiding humanity's development are not unique to Mesopotamia. Similar narratives appear in cultures around the world, from the Mayan tales of Quetzalcoatl to the Vedic descriptions of celestial beings in ancient India. This global resonance raises questions about the universality of such myths and the possibility of shared origins. The questions that remain as we reflect on the story of the Anunnaki. Several questions linger. Who were these beings, truly? Were they divine entities, as the Sumerians believed? Or could they have been advanced beings whose actions inspired myths? What was the true purpose of their arrival on Earth, and how much of their legacy is rooted in historical events versus symbolic storytelling? The mention of Nibiru and its elliptical orbit adds another layer of intrigue. If the Anunnaki did come from this mysterious planet, what does that imply about humanity's place in the cosmos? Could their story be evidence of early contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, or is it a reflection of humanity's enduring fascination with the stars? For the Sumerians, the Anunnaki were both creators and rulers, beings who brought order to chaos and elevated humanity from obscurity. Their arrival marked the beginning of civilization, but their departure left a void that humanity has been striving to fill ever since. The temples, texts, and traditions they inspired remain as echoes of a time when gods and mortals walked the same earth. A timeless tale. The Anunnaki story is not just a tale of gods and their creations. It is a narrative about humanity itself. It explores themes of power, responsibility, and the quest for knowledge, raising questions about the nature of leadership and the relationship between creators and their creations. Whether viewed as mythology, history, or something in between, the story of the Anunnaki challenges us to consider our origins, our potential, and the mysteries that still surround us. As we conclude this exploration of the Anunnaki's arrival, their purpose, and their legacy, we are left with a sense of wonder at the depth of their impact. From the first cities of Mesopotamia to the myths that continue to inspire us today, the Anunnaki remain an enduring symbol of humanity's connection to the divine and the infinite possibilities of the cosmos. As humanity's civilizations grew more advanced, so too did their interactions with the Anunnaki evolve. What began as a relationship of dependence transformed into a dynamic that was far more complex. The humans, once created solely as laborers, began to carve out their own place in the world. This newfound independence both fascinated and troubled their divine overseers. The Sumerian texts describe a world where the Anunnaki continued to guide humanity, but their presence became more nuanced. While they were still worshipped as gods, humanity's expanding knowledge and innovation gave mortals a greater role in shaping their own destiny. This delicate balance between divine authority and human autonomy defined much of the post-flood. The rise of human innovation under the watchful eyes of the Anunnaki, the Sumerians achieved remarkable advancements in science, technology, and governance. They developed intricate irrigation systems that transformed Mesopotamia into the Fertile Crescent, capable of sustaining large populations. They created written language, cuneiform, that allowed for the recording of history, trade, and even divine decrees. Temples and ziggurats became architectural masterpieces, blending practical functionality with spiritual symbolism. The Anunnaki were credited with imparting the knowledge necessary for these advancements. Enki, ever the teacher, was particularly revered for his role in sharing the secrets of agriculture, mathematics, and astronomy. The Sumerians' ability to track celestial movements with precision, for instance, was seen as a gift from the heavens, a direct result of the Anunnaki's guidance. Yet, as humans advanced, they began to question their place in the divine hierarchy. The laborers who once toiled in the fields and mines were now scholars, merchants, and leaders. This shift created tension not only among mortals, but also within the Anunnaki pantheon itself. Conflicts among the Anunnaki, the growing independence of humanity, exacerbated existing rivalries among the gods. Enki, who saw humanity's potential as a force for good, continued to advocate for their education and empowerment. He believed that humans could be allies to the Anunnaki, partners in maintaining order on Earth. His progressive vision often brought him into conflict with Enlil, whose approach remained rooted in strict control and discipline. Enlil viewed humanity's growing autonomy as a threat to the divine order. To him, the mortals were creations, not equals, and their ambitions needed to be curtailed. He saw Enki's generosity as reckless, fearing that humans, if left unchecked, could challenge the authority of the Anunnaki. These philosophical differences played out in both myth and governance. In the city of Nippur, where Enlil's authority was strongest, humans were subject to rigid laws designed to enforce obedience. In contrast, cities like Eridu, under Enki's influence, became hubs of creativity and cultural exchange, where humans were encouraged to innovate and explore. The influence of Inanna adding to the complexity was Inanna, the goddess of love, war, and fertility. Known for her charisma and ambition, Inanna often played a central role in mediating or escalating conflicts between the gods. She supported humanity's advancement, seeing it as an opportunity to expand her own influence among mortals and deities alike. Inanna's presence was particularly felt in the city of Uruk, where she was worshipped as the patron deity. Under her guidance, Uruk flourished as a cultural and political powerhouse. Inanna encouraged the rulers of Uruk to seek greatness, using her divine favor as both a blessing and a weapon. Her dual nature as a nurturer and a warrior made her a figure of both inspiration and fear. The stories of Inanna's interactions with humans and gods alike highlight the intricate dynamics of the Anunnaki pantheon. Her ambition often put her at odds with Enlil, whose rigid approach clashed with her more flexible and opportunistic style. Yet, her influence was undeniable, shaping not only the trajectory of Uruk, but also the broader narrative of human and divine relations. The burden of growth as human populations grew and their civilizations became more complex, the burden on the Anunnaki increased. The gods, once seen as omnipotent, found themselves grappling with the consequences of their creations. Managing humanity required constant oversight, from maintaining natural resources to resolving conflicts among mortals. This strain was particularly evident in the administration of justice. The Anunnaki were often called upon to mediate disputes, enforce laws, and punish transgressors. These responsibilities, while necessary, highlighted the limitations of even the most powerful beings. The gods were not infallible, and their decisions sometimes led to unintended consequences. The growing complexity of human society also raised questions about the nature of the gods themselves. The Sumerians began to view the Anunnaki not just as rulers but as beings with their own struggles and ambitions. This shift in perception added a new layer of depth to their mythology, portraying the gods as both divine and relatable. Preparing for departure by this time, The Anunnaki had spent millennia on Earth, guiding humanity and shaping its destiny. Yet, the text suggests that their time on the planet was drawing to a close. The reasons for their departure remain a subject of debate, but several possibilities emerge from the Sumerian myths. One theory is that the Anunnaki believed their mission was complete. Having established civilization and imparted the knowledge necessary for humanity's survival, they saw no need to remain. Another possibility is that internal conflicts within the pantheon made their continued presence on Earth untenable. The rivalries and tensions that define their interactions with each other may have ultimately driven them to leave. Modern interpretations offer a more speculative perspective. Some theorists suggest that the Anunnaki's withdrawal was tied to resource depletion. If their primary goal was to extract gold or other materials, their departure could signify that their mission had reached its natural conclusion. The prophecy of return despite their withdrawal, the Anunnaki left humanity with a promise or a warning that they would one day return. This prophecy, found in several Sumerian texts, speaks of a time when the gods will descend once more to Earth, bringing with them a new era of transformation. For the Sumerians, this prophecy was both comforting and daunting. It implied that the Anunnaki's absence was temporary, a pause rather than an end. Yet, it also served as a reminder of the gods' immense power and the need to honor their legacy. The anticipation of the Anunnaki's return became a recurring theme in Mesopotamian culture, influencing rituals, architecture, and even political decisions. An unfinished chapter as we look back on the story of the Anunnaki, it becomes clear that their arrival on Earth was only the beginning of a much larger narrative. Their interactions with humanity, their struggles with power and responsibility, and their eventual departure leave us with as many questions as answers. The legacy of the Anunnaki endures, not just in the myths of the Sumerians, but in the broader human quest to understand our origins. Were they gods, visitors, or something else entirely? The answer, like the Anunnaki themselves, remains shrouded in mystery. As the Anunnaki began their withdrawal from direct involvement in human affairs, the world they left behind bore their unmistakable mark. The cities of Mesopotamia flourished, their towering ziggurats standing as testaments to the divine influence of the gods who had once walked the earth. Humanity, no longer under the constant guidance of their creators, faced the challenge of charting its own path, a journey shaped by the knowledge and systems the Anunnaki had imparted. A gradual withdrawal, the departure of the Anunnaki, was not an abrupt event. Over centuries, their interactions with humanity became less frequent, and their presence more symbolic than physical. Temples remained centers of worship, and rituals dedicated to the gods continued, but the direct oversight that had characterized earlier ages faded into memory. This transition was reflected in the Sumerian texts, which began to depict the Anunnaki as distant figures, still revered, but no longer actively shaping the world. This gradual withdrawal may have been a deliberate strategy. By allowing humanity to govern itself, the Anunnaki could observe whether their creation was capable of sustaining the civilizations they had built. The text suggests that this was a period of testing, a time for humanity to prove its worth and demonstrate its ability to maintain order without divine intervention. The legacy of knowledge, one of the most enduring contributions of the Anunnaki, was the knowledge they left behind. From agriculture to astronomy, the systems and practices they introduced became the foundation of human progress. The Sumerians' ability to harness the natural world, from irrigating their fields to navigating by the stars, was attributed to the teachings of the Anunnaki. This legacy of knowledge ensured that even in their absence, the gods' influence would endure. The written word, perhaps the most transformative gift of the Anunnaki, played a crucial role in preserving their legacy. Cuneiform tablets recorded not only the myths and laws of the Sumerians, but also practical information about trade, governance, and daily life. These records became a bridge between the divine and the mortal, a way for future generations to access the wisdom of the gods. The role of ritual and religion, even as the Anunnaki receded from human affairs, their presence remained central to the spiritual and cultural life of Mesopotamia. Temples dedicated to gods like Enki, Enlil, and Inanna were the focal points of urban centers, serving as places of worship, learning, and governance. Priests acted as intermediaries, ensuring that the rituals honoring the gods were performed with precision. These rituals were not merely acts of devotion. They were believed to maintain the balance between heaven and earth. Offerings of food, drink, and valuable goods symbolized humanity's gratitude and dependence on the Anunnaki. Festivals celebrated the gods' deeds, reinforcing their importance in the collective memory of the people. Internal struggles among the gods. While humanity adapted to life without direct divine oversight, the Anunnaki themselves faced challenges. The rivalries and disagreements that had characterized their interactions on Earth did not vanish with their departure. Texts hint at continued conflicts within the pantheon, particularly between Enki and Enlil, whose opposing philosophies remained a source of tension. These struggles, while largely removed from the mortal realm, had a profound impact on the way the Anunnaki were perceived. To the Sumerians, the gods were not infallible. They were beings with emotions, ambitions, and flaws. This humanization of the divine added a layer of complexity to their mythology, making the Anunnaki both relatable and awe-inspiring. The promise of return. Despite their departure, the Anunnaki left humanity with a promise that they would one day return. This prophecy, found in several Sumerian texts, suggested that the gods' absence was temporary and that their eventual reappearance would herald a new era of transformation. The anticipation of this return became a central theme in Mesopotamian culture, influencing everything from religious practices to political ideologies. For the Sumerians, the possibility of the gods' return was both a source of hope and a reminder of their dependence on divine favor. It reinforced the idea that humanity's destiny was tied to the will of the Anunnaki, even in their absence. Modern interpretations of the Anunnaki in contemporary times, the story of the Anunnaki has taken on new dimensions. Scholars and theorists alike have sought to understand the origins and implications of these myths, exploring their connections to history, religion, and even science. The mention of Nibiru, the supposed home planet of the Anunnaki, has fueled speculation about extraterrestrial contact, with some suggesting that the gods of Sumer were advanced beings from another world. While these theories remain controversial, they highlight the enduring fascination with the Anunnaki and their potential role in shaping humanity's development. The idea that ancient myths could contain kernels of historical truth continues to inspire research and debate, blurring the lines between legend and reality. A lasting influence. As we reflect on the story of the Anunnaki, it becomes clear that their impact extends far beyond the boundaries of Mesopotamia. Their myths and teachings influenced the cultures and religions that followed, from the Akkadians and Babylonians to the Hebrews and Greeks. The concepts of divine kingship, sacred architecture, and the interplay between mortals and gods all trace their roots back to the Anunnaki. Even today, their story resonates as a symbol of humanity's quest to understand its origins and its place in the cosmos. Whether viewed as historical figures, symbolic archetypes, or speculative visitors from another world, the Anunnaki remain one of the most compelling mysteries of ancient history. An open chapter. The Anunnaki's departure marked the end of an era, but their story remains unfinished. The promise of their return continues to captivate the imagination, inviting us to consider what lies beyond the myths. Were they gods, visitors, or something else entirely? The answers may never be fully known, but the questions they inspire keep their legacy alive. The arrival of the Anunnaki was not just the beginning of civilization. It was the dawn of a story that has shaped humanity's understanding of itself and its relationship with the divine. As we conclude this exploration of their arrival and legacy, we are left with a sense of wonder at the depth and complexity of the narrative they left behind. The story of the Anunnaki is deeply intertwined with the heavens. The Sumerians, who lived under expansive desert skies, were exceptional astronomers, charting the movements of celestial bodies with astonishing precision. For them, the stars were not just distant lights but divine markers, a reflection of the gods themselves. The connection between the Anunnaki and the cosmos remains one of the most intriguing aspects of their mythology. The mysterious Nibiru. Central to many accounts of the Anunnaki is the mention of Nibiru, often referred to as the 12th planet or Planet X in modern interpretations. According to some readings of the Sumerian texts, Nibiru is a massive celestial body with an elongated orbit that brings it close to Earth every few thousand years. It is described as the home of the Anunnaki, a world far removed from our own yet intrinsically connected to our planet's history. The idea of Nibiru has sparked considerable debate among scholars and theorists. While some dismiss it as a poetic metaphor or a mistranslation, others see it as evidence of ancient astronomical knowledge. Could the Sumerians have been aware of a distant planet whose existence modern science has yet to confirm? And if so, how did they acquire such knowledge? For the Sumerians, Nibiru represented more than just a physical place. It was a symbol of the divine, a celestial realm from which the Anunnaki descended to Earth. Its periodic approach was seen as a harbinger of change, a time when the gods would renew their connection to the mortal world. Astronomy and the Anunnaki, the Sumerians' understanding of the heavens extended far beyond Nibiru. They meticulously recorded the movements of the planets, stars, and constellations, creating some of the earliest known star charts. These charts were not merely scientific tools but also spiritual guides, used to interpret the will of the gods. Each celestial body was associated with a specific deity, reinforcing the connection between the Anunnaki and the cosmos. The moon, for instance, was linked to Nana, Sin, the god of wisdom and time, while the sun was associated with Utu, Shamash, the god of justice. These associations reflected the Sumerians' belief that the movements of the heavens mirrored the actions of the gods. The Anunnaki's celestial origins were a constant theme in Sumerian culture. Ziggurats, with their tiered structures, were designed to emulate mountains, sacred places where heaven and earth were believed to meet. At the top of these temples, priests would observe the stars, seeking guidance from the heavens and reaffirming humanity's connection to the divine. The search for meaning in the stars, the Anunnaki's association with the cosmos, has inspired countless interpretations, both ancient and modern. For the Sumerians, the heavens were a source of order and stability, a reminder of the gods' power and their role as protectors of the world. Each constellation told a story, weaving together myth and astronomy into a unified vision of the universe. Modern theorists have taken this idea further, suggesting that the Anunnaki's celestial origins could point to extraterrestrial contact. The precision of Sumerian astronomical knowledge, combined with the detailed descriptions of the gods' descent to Earth, has led some to speculate that the Anunnaki were visitors from another planet. Could their stories be ancient accounts of interstellar travel, preserved in the language of myth? While these theories remain speculative, they highlight the enduring fascination with the Anunnaki and their connection to the stars. The idea that humanity's earliest civilizations were shaped by beings from beyond Earth continues to captivate imaginations, offering a tantalizing glimpse into the mysteries of our past. The prophecy of return and celestial cycles, one of the most enduring aspects of the Anunnaki mythos, is the prophecy of their return. According to Sumerian texts, the Anunnaki would one day descend from the heavens again, bringing with them a new era of transformation. This promise, tied to the cyclical nature of celestial movements, suggests that their return is linked to the orbit of Nibiru. The idea of a returning planet aligns with the Sumerians' understanding of time as a series of cycles, each marked by significant cosmic events. Just as the stars and planets follow predictable paths, so too do the actions of the gods. For the Sumerians, the Anunnaki's departure was not an end but a transition, part of a larger pattern that would eventually bring them back to Earth. Modern interpretations of this prophecy often focus on the possibility of rediscovering the Anunnaki's knowledge. If their return were to occur, it could signal a profound shift in humanity's understanding of the universe and its place within it. Alternatively, their reappearance could challenge long-held assumptions about history, science, and religion, forcing humanity to confront its origins in a new light. An unfinished journey, the Anunnaki's story, like the stars themselves, is vast and open to interpretation. Their arrival on Earth, their role in shaping human civilization, and their eventual departure are part of a narrative that continues to evolve. Whether seen as gods, visitors, or symbols of human aspiration, the Anunnaki remain a testament to humanity's enduring quest to understand its place in the cosmos. As we reflect on their legacy, we are reminded that the search for meaning is not confined to the Earth. The heavens, with their infinite expanse, hold secrets that continue to inspire and challenge us. The Anunnaki's connection to the stars invites us to look beyond our world, to consider the possibility that our story is part of something far greater, a timeless tale written among the constellations. As the Anunnaki faded from direct involvement in human affairs, their legacy continued to shape not only Mesopotamian civilization, but also the cultures that followed. From their stories of creation and governance to the architectural and social structures they inspired, the Anunnaki's influence extended far beyond the boundaries of Sumer. Across continents and millennia, echoes of their presence can be found in myths, legends, and the enduring symbols of humanity's connection to the divine. The Anunnaki in Mesopotamian culture. In Mesopotamia, the Anunnaki's impact was most clearly seen in the development of religious and political systems. The concept of divine kingship, central to Sumerian governance, was directly tied to the gods. Kings were believed to be chosen by the Anunnaki, serving as their earthly representatives and maintaining the order established by the gods. This divine mandate was reinforced through rituals, architecture, and the written word. Ziggurats, towering structures dedicated to the gods, symbolized the connection between heaven and earth, serving as both places of worship and centers of power. These temples were often adorned with carvings and inscriptions celebrating the Anunnaki, ensuring that their presence remained central to the cultural consciousness. The Sumerians' religious practices also reflected the hierarchical structure of the Anunnaki pantheon. Each city had a patron deity, with temples and priesthoods dedicated to their worship. These deities were often associated with specific aspects of life, such as fertility, war, or wisdom, mirroring the roles of the Anunnaki in the divine council. Global echoes of the Anunnaki. While the Anunnaki are most closely associated with Sumerian mythology, their influence can be seen in cultures far beyond Mesopotamia. Stories of gods descending from the heavens to shape humanity's destiny appear in numerous ancient traditions, suggesting a shared archetype or a common source of inspiration. In ancient Egypt, the concept of divine rulers was central to the pharaoh's authority, much like the Sumerian kings who claimed their mandate from the Anunnaki. The construction of monumental pyramids, aligned with celestial bodies, echoes the ziggurats of Mesopotamia and reinforces the connection between the heavens and the divine. In Mesoamerican cultures, such as the Maya and Aztec, myths of gods descending to earth to teach humanity are strikingly similar to Sumerian accounts of the Anunnaki. Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent deity, was said to have brought knowledge and civilization to the people, much like Enki's role in Sumerian mythology. In the Vedic texts of ancient India, stories of celestial beings descending from the heavens in flying chariots, referred to as Vimanas, bear a resemblance to descriptions of the Anunnaki's arrival. These parallels raise intriguing questions about the universality of such myths and whether they reflect a shared human experience or independent interpretations of similar events. The Anunnaki's architectural legacy. The architectural innovations attributed to the Anunnaki also left a lasting impact. The ziggurats of Mesopotamia were not only engineering marvels, but also symbolic representations of humanity's connection to the divine. These structures inspired later civilizations to create their own monumental architecture, often designed to honor the gods and connect with the heavens. The influence of the ziggurat can be seen in the pyramids of Egypt and Mesoamerica, as well as in the towering temples of ancient Greece and Rome. Each of these structures reflects a shared desire to bridge the gap between the mortal and the divine, a theme central to the Anunnaki's mythology. The spread of writing and knowledge. One of the most profound contributions of the Anunnaki, according to Sumerian accounts, was the gift of writing. The development of cuneiform script allowed for the recording of laws, myths, and administrative records, laying the foundation for the first literate societies. This innovation not only preserved the legacy of the Anunnaki, but also enabled the spread of knowledge across generations and regions. As writing systems evolved, they carried with them the stories and teachings of the Anunnaki. These texts influenced the development of later religious and philosophical traditions, shaping humanity's understanding of morality, governance, and the cosmos. Modern interpretations of the Anunnaki. In contemporary times, the Anunnaki story has taken on new dimensions. Scholars, archaeologists, and theorists have sought to unravel the mysteries of their mythology, exploring its historical, cultural, and speculative implications. Some see the Anunnaki as symbolic representations of natural forces or archetypal figures that reflect humanity's aspirations and struggles. Others interpret their stories as evidence of ancient contact with advanced civilizations, possibly extraterrestrial in origin. The idea that the Anunnaki were visitors from another world has gained significant attention in popular culture. Proponents of the ancient astronaut theory argue that the gods' descriptions, particularly their arrival from the heavens and their advanced knowledge, point to beings of extraterrestrial origin. This perspective, while controversial, has sparked widespread interest in the Anunnaki and their role in human history. The universal appeal of the Anunnaki. What makes the Anunnaki's story so enduring is its ability to resonate across cultures and eras. Whether viewed as divine beings, extraterrestrial visitors, or symbols of human potential, the Anunnaki represent humanity's quest for meaning and connection. Their story invites us to consider the origins of civilization, the possibility of contact with other worlds, and the enduring power of myth to shape our understanding of the past. The legacy of the Anunnaki is not confined to the ancient world. It lives on in the architecture, literature, and philosophies they inspired, as well as in the ongoing exploration of their mysteries. As we continue to uncover new insights into their mythology, the story of the Anunnaki reminds us that the search for knowledge is a timeless pursuit, one that connects us to our ancestors and the cosmos itself. An expanding narrative as humanity progresses, the questions posed by the Anunnaki's mythology remain as relevant as ever. Who were these beings, truly? Were they gods, as the Sumerians believed, or advanced beings who shaped our development for reasons we may never fully understand? What lessons can we learn from their stories, and how do they inform our understanding of our place in the universe? The answers, like the Anunnaki themselves, are elusive. Yet, the search for truth continues to inspire us, pushing the boundaries of what we know and challenging us to look beyond the limits of our understanding. The Anunnaki story is not just a tale of the past. It is a journey that continues to unfold, inviting us to explore the mysteries of existence and the infinite possibilities of the cosmos. The final chapter of the Anunnaki's story is as much about their enduring influence as it is about the mysteries they left behind. Thousands of years after their departure, the civilizations they shaped and the myths they inspired continue to resonate. The Sumerians saw the Anunnaki as gods, divine beings who brought order to chaos and laid the foundations of human progress. Yet their legacy, steeped in both wonder and ambiguity, invites deeper reflection on their true nature and purpose. The Anunnaki and the origins of human identity. The myths of the Anunnaki are, at their core, stories about creation. The Sumerians believed that humanity was born from a divine act, a union of Earth's raw materials and the essence of the gods. This narrative, which cast humans as both servants and heirs to the Anunnaki, shaped the Sumerians' understanding of their place in the world. They saw themselves as part of a grand design, charged with maintaining the balance between the divine and the natural. This belief in a shared origin and purpose fostered a sense of identity that transcended individual lives. Humanity's achievements were seen as a continuation of the work begun by the Anunnaki, a collaboration that bridged the mortal and the divine. The temples, laws, and innovations of Mesopotamia were not just practical advancements. They were expressions of a sacred relationship that defined the human experience. The departure of the Anunnaki. As the Anunnaki withdrew from direct involvement in human affairs, they left behind a world transformed by their presence. Cities flourished, knowledge spread, and humanity began to forge its own path. Yet the absence of the gods also raised profound questions. Why did they leave? Was their mission complete, or did they depart out of necessity? The Sumerians, for all their devotion, could only speculate, and their texts offer tantalizing clues but no definitive answers. One interpretation suggests that the Anunnaki's departure was part of a larger cosmic plan. The Sumerians viewed time as cyclical, with each era marked by the actions of the gods. The withdrawal of the Anunnaki may have been a necessary step in humanity's evolution, allowing mortals to take greater responsibility for their own destiny. Another possibility is that internal conflicts among the gods made their continued presence on Earth untenable, forcing them to retreat to their celestial home. Modern theories often take a more speculative approach. Some propose that the Anunnaki were extraterrestrial beings who came to Earth for specific purposes, such as mining resources or conducting experiments, and left when those objectives were fulfilled. This perspective, while controversial, aligns with the idea that the Anunnaki's actions were driven by practical needs rather than purely spiritual motives. The promise of return, the promise of the Anunnaki's return, is one of the most enduring aspects of their mythology. According to the Sumerian texts, the gods vowed to descend from the heavens again, bringing with them a new era of transformation. This prophecy, tied to celestial cycles and the orbit of Nibiru, has captivated imaginations for centuries. For the Sumerians, this promise was both a source of hope and a reminder of their dependence on divine favor. The idea that the gods might one day return to renew their covenant with humanity reinforced the importance of maintaining rituals, laws, and traditions. It was a way of preparing for a future that, while uncertain, was deeply connected to the past. In modern times, the prophecy of the Anunnaki's return has taken on new meanings. For some, it is a metaphor for humanity's quest for knowledge and understanding, a reminder that the search for truth is an ongoing process. For others, it is a literal prediction, a belief that the Anunnaki will one day reappear and reveal the secrets of our origins. The enduring mysteries of the Anunnaki. Even as we explore the myths and legends of the Anunnaki, their story remains incomplete. Who were they, truly? Were they divine beings, advanced extraterrestrial visitors, or symbolic representations of humanity's aspirations and fears? The answers, if they exist, are hidden in the layers of history, waiting to be uncovered. The mention of Nibiru adds another layer of intrigue. If the Anunnaki did hail from a distant planet, what does that imply about our understanding of the cosmos? Could their story be evidence of early contact with otherworldly intelligence, or is it a reflection of the Sumerians' deep connection to the stars? A legacy that transcends time. The Anunnaki's influence extends far beyond the boundaries of Mesopotamia. Their myths and teachings have shaped the cultures and religions of countless civilizations, from the Akkadians and Babylonians to the Hebrews and Greeks. The themes of divine creation, celestial intervention, and the balance between order and chaos are universal, resonating across time and space. In many ways, the Anunnaki are a reflection of humanity itself. Their struggles, ambitions, and relationships mirror our own, offering a lens through which to explore the complexities of existence. They remind us that the search for meaning is not confined to any one era or culture. It is a timeless pursuit that connects us to the past and propels us into the future. The Anunnaki's relevance today, in a world where science and spirituality often seem at odds, the story of the Anunnaki offers a unique perspective. It challenges us to consider the possibility that myth and reality are not mutually exclusive, that the stories of our ancestors may contain truths that transcend literal interpretation. Whether viewed as historical accounts, symbolic narratives, or speculative theories, the Anunnaki invite us to explore the boundaries of what we know and imagine what lies beyond. Their legacy lives on in the questions they inspire. What does it mean to be human? Where do we come from? And what is our purpose? These are the same questions the Sumerians sought to answer through their connection to the Anunnaki, and they remain as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. A timeless tale. The story of the Anunnaki is not just a tale of gods and mortals. It is a story about the power of imagination and the enduring human quest for understanding. From their arrival on Earth to their eventual departure, the Anunnaki represent the intersection of myth, history, and possibility. They are a reminder that the search for truth is as infinite as the stars themselves. As we conclude this exploration of the Anunnaki's arrival, purpose, and legacy, we are left with a sense of awe at the depth and complexity of their narrative. Their story is a journey that continues to unfold, inviting each generation to look beyond the known and embrace the mysteries of the cosmos. As we close this chapter of the Anunnaki's extraordinary story, one truth remains clear. Their legacy challenges us to look beyond the limits of what we know and question the mysteries of our origins. What if their myths hold hidden truths about humanity's past? Could their influence still echo in our world today? We want to hear from you. Share your thoughts, theories, or questions about the Anunnaki in the comments, or connect with us on social media. Let's dive deeper into the mysteries together. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Timeless Tales Podcast by Sage Chronicler and hit the notification bell so you never miss a journey into the unknown. Leave a review, share with friends, and help us uncover the truths hidden in ancient legends. Your engagement fuels our exploration, because every myth holds a key to understanding who we are and where we come from. Thank you for being part of this timeless journey.